Why is it that people always say you need to delegate everything if you want to run a good business, yet when you do it, things screw up and you end up hating the result? That's what I'm going to unpack in this video. Okay, so it's Jeff here, and one of the pieces of advice that I've always received from people when it comes to growing and scaling your business is you need to get better at delegating, you need to get better at hiring, you need to not be doing this stuff yourself. And yet every single time when I hire somebody, it doesn't really work as well as you want it to, right? And I've talked to so many business owners, especially in the agency world, who do this and they end up hating the result, hating their business, and hating a lot of things that end up happening from it. So why is that happening and how do we fix it? Well, first of all, I want to say that there are certain types of people in this world, and you might not be somebody who's meant to be a manager, a delegator, or somebody that wants to handle this thing. Okay, that's what I've determined about myself. I am actually not somebody who really wants to be a great delegator, who wants to be that. I want to be more of the innovator. I want to be somebody who has the role that is doing the fun stuff. I'm more of a doer than I am a manager. And so if you're not somebody who wants to be a manager, or you don't naturally gravitate toward it, or you've had years and years to become a good manager, but you haven't, that might just be who you are, and it might be something that you need to accept. Okay, and so when it comes to any delegation whatsoever, any hiring, you may just be bad at it because you don't want to be a manager. Or you can be like me and you delegate things that don't really need a lot of management, and that's about as far as you get with delegation, realizing that, yeah, maybe you're holding yourself short, but you're happier in what you do in your business. Now, not a lot of people out there who are happier by just doing what they like to do and delegating things they don't like to do. Now, inside of my Profit Pillars program, I mentioned, and I call this the pyramid of delegation. And in the pyramid, you can delegate tactical things, management tasks, and you can delegate strategic tasks. Obviously, the easiest things to delegate are tactical tasks. For example, delegating things on, to somebody that you meet on Fiverr or on Upwork. Those are tactical things that are pretty easy to do, and they're very easy to delegate. And I do that all the time. And so if you have found yourself doing that and it's going pretty well, that means that you're basically delegating the tactical tasks and you're letting a platform do the management for you, or you're letting the fact that it's a pretty common task be what manages it. You're letting people self-manage. An example might be bookkeeping. It might be light graphic design. It might be landing page design. It might be any kind of web development stuff. Video editing, podcast editing. It could be having somebody install the analytics code on your site. It could be hiring somebody to do a social post. Basically, you're hiring them, you're delegating, but you're not delegating, you're sort of letting them self-manage, and you're letting the platform help you with that, or the proven acceptable terms of what's going on. Now, if you unpacked that role and said, hey, I want to manage somebody who does graphic design, or I want to manage somebody who does this, you're going to probably hate it because you don't really need to. And also, you're not probably somebody who wants to do the management. Now, the challenging part is that when you want to bring everything in-house and you basically become the manager of these resources, and you do a lot of that, and maybe you don't have the resources to delegate management, which is the next level up the pyramid, then you start having some problems and some challenges because you end up saying, okay, well, I wanted to be a strategic person. I want to delegate tactical and management to be strategic, but you don't have any time to do that because you have not been able to delegate management because either you're not good at it or you don't have the funds to hire somebody to do it. And so this is really where delegation goes wrong, is that you have not delegated the management task. You're bringing in the tactical stuff so they're not self-managing anymore. And then you're expecting that this management layer that doesn't exist in your business is going to magically manage things and get better results. And you find that you're unhappy because you haven't delegated management, okay? So you have to understand that delegation isn't just delegating tasks, it's delegating roles in an organization. And the reason why you were probably happier when you just delegated a few tactical things was that they were self-managed and that you didn't have a management layer in your organization. And this is what I've realized, is that I am not happy if I serve in the management layer of the organization. It has to be somebody else. And yet in a small business, maybe there's not enough people, enough roles, or enough revenue to have that happen. And so you have to actually start to swallow your pride a little bit and say, okay, well, maybe I don't need that management layer. Okay, so this is where the delegation advice oftentimes falls short in business, right? Now, the final thing is strategy. Delegating strategy, you can't even really have that conversation until after you've delegated management and tactical. Okay, so this is something that happens in the multi-millions of dollars in business. It may not be something that you ever want to do, but an example of delegating strategy and the strategic input of your business would be, say that you have an agency or a service business that provide services all the time, and you're the partner sitting on top, and then you might hire another partner. So somebody else makes partner in the organization. In a way, you are delegating to them strategy. You're saying, okay, you're going to replace this in strategy, or hiring a CEO for your company, or hiring out your C-suite. This is when you do start to begin to have the idea of delegating strategy. Now, as you can probably imagine, this isn't something that you need to do in a business less than $1 million. It's not something you can do in a business at $1 million. It has to be multiple millions of dollars before you can even have that conversation. Okay, so that's the order of the pyramid. The reason why we often fail at delegating or it doesn't stick for us is because we delegate one thing and then we end up actually not delegating the management layer in between, and that's where we start to get disconnected and not like it. Or we start to say, okay, well, I'm doing the strategy piece, but it's not really something that I want to be doing either. But it's almost always in that middle management layer. Okay, so when it comes to delegation, I would definitely take a look at our process pyramid that we teach inside Profit Pillars, understand it, get to know it, because that process pyramid and the delegation pyramid that we have, what it really does is an operating system for your entire business. It's when you want to go through and replace things, what revenue levels you want to hit to be to that point, and what order you can do things, because there's a way to be happy at all levels of growth in your business. There's a way to be happy and to delegate and to do what people tell you to do what the common advice is, but you have to do it in a way that makes you feel comfortable and that you're not leaving any steps behind. And so if you are successful at delegating tactical stuff right now, and then you become a manager managing the tactical stuff, you're actually taking a step backwards versus a step forwards, something I've done, something that I've had to correct. But the reality is that you ultimately may never be able to get to that next level of delegation if you don't have some kind of business partner, some kind of senior person on your team, somebody that you can afford to do that. And generally speaking, it has to be revenue that comes in, or you need to find somebody who can do that, who's on the up and up, somebody who you can train on your own, who's not as expensive. You can give away equity in your business. There's all kinds of different ways to do that. But ultimately, the advice to say that you need to delegate, that is survivor bias. That is for people who have hit multiple $1 million of revenue, who have the luxury to be able to afford to do that. That may not be you, and that's okay. That's something that you can accept. I accepted it, and it's something that you can use to move forward, okay? So if you'd like this insight about the different levels of your business, the process pyramid, make sure that you do sign up for our newsletter at profitpillars.co, because that's where we start to share a lot of these insights. This is where you can get several times a week, several times in your life, you can get me into your life, sharing with you the insights that go with growing a business, the trial and error that goes with growing a business, and then doing it the right way, but then understanding the clarity behind why that happens. And if you like this video, make sure that you do hit that subscribe button, wherever that subscribe button is, and make sure that you stay tuned for upcoming videos, and leave a comment if you like the new direction we're taking the content here, because I want to be doing more of these things, but it's you that keeps me going. So let me know if you like these insights in this format, and let me know what else you think about what we're doing here over at this channel.